Good morning, everybody. It's the morning recording. It's Wednesday, November 9th, 2016. It's the day after the elections. And even though we all know the system is bullshit, we're going to play devil's advocate. And we're going to talk about the results a little bit last night, go over the states and how people voted, and what impact this could possibly have in our country and things like that. And we're also going to talk about all of the states that voted on legalizing marijuana today. A handful of states voted to legalize it recreationally, and another couple of states voted to legalize it medicinally. So, which is interesting that the people somehow are getting their way with having marijuana legalized and having that powerful medicine at their disposal in many more locations than used to be readily available. But it just, makes you wonder how we can have so much progression in that one area and then be so held back in so many other areas. Maybe they think it makes us apathetic. I don't know, but they don't know anything about it. That's what they think. So, people out there that think all potheads are just lazy and dirty, it's because you've probably never experienced it before. But anyway, so alright, so you guys all know it already. A lot of you people out there either crying or smiling over this. You think it matters. Donald Trump beat Hillary. He's going to be the next president of the United States. 279 electoral votes over Hillary's 228. In my eyes, it wasn't very surprising. A lot of the way a lot of the states went. Basically, a lot of the Democratic heavy states went with Hillary, and a lot of the states that are normally red states, Republican states, went with Trump. Except for Trump was able to take some states right from the fucking cold, fucking dead grasp of Hillary's hands. He took a couple of her states that would normally be part of the Democratic lineup of states that usually go their way. But we're going to go ahead and just go alphabetically here. Roll Tide. Alabama went with Trump. 63% of the popular vote over Hillary's 35%. Alaska, the largest state geographically, 53% went with Trump. Over Hillary's 38%. Arizona is looking like it's going to go Trump's way still. Counting votes there, taking quite a long time. It's the next morning here on the West Coast, and Arizona is still not completely tallied up, and they're still not ready to say who completely won that state, but it doesn't really matter, obviously. Arkansas, this is interesting. Hillary's husband's home state, where he started off his political career, Arkansas, Trump dominated 60% over her 34%. And then, of course, California, my home state, unfortunately, very predictable most of the time as far as the way they're going to vote. Very Democratic heavy. Hillary dominates there. 61% of the vote. 5.4 million people in California voted for Hillary. Jesus Christ. The media does a good job. Both ways, obviously. But just interesting that didn't change much. Colorado, another interesting thing. So Colorado, also a Hillary state. She wins 47% to 45%, just barely. Not by too much there. But all the states that either have already passed medicinal and recreational marijuana laws, or the ones that just passed it last night for recreational, those people voted for Hillary, who's anti-marijuana. She said it on multiple occasions, but it's just interesting. I know marijuana's not everything, but it's just interesting because a lot of people, they use it for medicine, and instead of using either pharmaceuticals like narcotics for body pain or psychotropic medications like antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication for mental problems. So which is a big deal. So, because people are being poisoned every day when there's a natural medicine out there that can help them. So yeah, Colorado 47% over Trump's 45%. Like I said before, Connecticut, Hillary, Eastern Seaboard states, almost all went with Hillary. 54% over Trump's 42%. Delaware 53% for Hillary over Trump's 42%. Washington D.C. You can tell who. I mean, I know that Capitol Hill doesn't really compromise for the votes and stuff there, but it's interesting that Hillary took 93% of the vote there over Trump's 4%. She obviously has strong sway at the epicenter of our federal government's heart. Florida, which I believe Mitt Romney wasn't able to take 4 years ago, Trump took it. 49% over Hillary's 48%. Just a little over 100,000 people more went with Trump. It was very close there. Georgia, Trump took it 51% over Hillary's 46%. Hawaii, very heavily pro Hillary. Limited vote count from out there and only 4 electoral votes, but basically doubled the people in Hawaii thought that Hillary should be president. Idaho, very probably very obvious, very heavy Trump, 59%. Hillary just got 28% of the vote there. Illinois, this makes sense. Obama having, which is probably ridiculous, but Obama having over 50% approval rating still, and him being a Democratic member of the Democratic Party, and all of that, it translates. And Illinois is also Hillary's home state too, so that all translates in the heavy Democratic win there. 55% over Trump's 39%. Indiana, Trump, 57% over Hillary's 38%. Iowa, Trump, 52% over Hillary's 42%. Kansas, Trump, 57%, 36% for Hillary. Kentucky, Trump beat her ass there, 63% over Hillary's 33%. Louisiana, Trump, 58%. 1 second here. Maine, Hillary. Maryland, Hillary. Massachusetts, Hillary. Pretty heavily in all those spots there. Makes sense. Again, just going off of the pattern that how states normally vote there. Michigan was another state that Trump needed to possibly snag, that has been voting heavily Democratic, for the last 30 years or so. The last time they voted, I believe, the other way was Reagan back in the early 80s. But so that one's still not all the way in. It was very close. As of right now, Trump was up 12,000 votes there, just 48% to Hillary's 47% there. So he didn't need it, but it was one of the ones that was supposedly coming down to the wire. Whatever. Minnesota, which was supposed to be a heavy Democratic win, came down pretty close, but Hillary took that one. Mississippi, Trump. Missouri, Trump. Montana, Trump. Nebraska, Trump. No surprises there. Let's see. So, what's interesting about Nevada is that was a pretty close one. People thought Trump might get that one. He had a lot of backing from influential people in Vegas. Fight promoters and such were all going on his side. Made it pretty close. Hillary took it 48% to 46%. New Hampshire was a swing state that was one that could potentially have some pivotal game-changing action there, but it still didn't come back all the way. It was very close. Hillary's up by just literally like a little over 1,000 votes there. New Jersey, Hillary. New Mexico, Hillary. New York, Hillary. Of course, 59%. 4.1 million people voted for Hillary. So she had like it's pretty clear cut. Like the people, like the types of lifestyles that people live in, like big cities, and the way they absorb information from around them, and the way the information spreads there, and just the differences in the lifestyles compared to the people that live in the rural areas in America. Like it was like pretty clear cut, other than some rare examples of some states where Trump took it. But even in those states, like most states, like that have a large city, like the people in the large cities almost always went with Hillary, which is interesting. It's almost like, you know, the two cultures still, like, there's still a divide in the cultures in the world. Like industrialization and all that didn't like like there's still people who have different ways of living and thinking and different cultures and stuff within our own country, and it's very clear cut. Like and it's like the people who, like, the Hillary supporters are so afraid of the Trump supporters, and vice versa, and really, I'm going over this, but really neither of them are going to change the financial system. Neither of them are going to decrease military spending and increase education and really change education. The healthcare system might get a little bit better because Obamacare is getting so fucking expensive for people that have it anyways. It's like ridiculous to even call it the Affordable Health Care Act anymore. So if he replaces that and does something different, that might be something that you can hang your hat on, that he does maybe positive for you. But some people, no matter what he does, there's going to be a lot of controversy. So it's just going to be a lot of, it's like, I almost feel like, because all that information came out about Hillary so close to the election, like for some reason that the people did exactly what the powers that be wanted them to do. Like for some reason, it's like people were so disgusted with her, they all decided that they would do the old vote for lesser of two evils and go with him, and get in a boat with him, and now they're going to be steered wherever he's going, and that might not be anywhere good. They're talking about it's a revolution and shit like that already on the conservative news stations, and that there's a global populism movement, and that it's going to bring everybody closer globally. See, they know that we think that the old system, the United Nations, the bankers, Wall Street, all that is corrupt as fuck, and they're taking advantage of us. They understand that we're aware of that now, so it's like there's a next level of the game being played here now. And so the old way of convincing, the original way of convincing us to all have a one world government with the United Nations, thinking that we would be secure and all the nations being together, didn't work, and so now maybe there's another way to get us thinking how they want us to think before it's time for us to think that way. So if it's organic, if a society comes together organically and their thought processes line up organically and naturally, and the evolution of all the primitive behavior and just living our lives for the pursuit and accumulation of material goods, once that becomes not the goal in our life organically, then we'll be ready to move together, one world, when we can think together and not be so divisive and stuff like that. But they can't be divided. See, they want to divide us in order to attain that goal, and they don't get that that's never going to work. That it's like you're caging us and forcing us into this thing instead of letting us just figure it out on our own. And like you can't do that. The influential people in this world don't want to realize that they're never going to see the true example of how beautiful, like, everyone in the world coming together organically is, because they're just trying to force it within their own generation to happen now. And you can't do that. The people aren't going to respond the way you want them to respond, because people aren't meant to be imprisoned mentally, physically. We're meant to be truly loving, free, creatures. And there, of course, with humanity, there's always going to be bad apples. Like, there's nothing that you can do about that. But the way we handle criminals nowadays, and the way we handle the justice system, and the way we put everybody in prison together for completely different types of reasons, instead of having treatment programs for everybody that's in there for drugs, and not putting them with violent criminals and things like that. We could, communities could handle situations like that on their own, like, like far less federal control. Human beings could live our lives by natural law, by taking care of one another, and whenever one human being fucks up and hurts another human being, the community around them, they take care of that threat, they eliminate that threat, and then they move on. So what the system is not going to change enough as it needs to, with whoever's going to become president, because they're just a figurehead. They're still taking orders from the people who truly own and have all the assets of this country. Even Trump, he's rich as fuck, but he's not as rich as the men behind the curtain, man. And he's not the tippy top of the mountain as far as that's concerned. So he said it. I'm going to mention that roast that they did, the Trump Hillary roast rich dinner again. If you've seen that, Trump admits right there that he grew up, maybe he's not in the secret societies like Newt Gingrich said, but he's still like socially in that groove where like he can participate and attend dinners. Like he's been going to dinners like that with that social class and that economic class since he was a child with his father. So he says it right in his speech before he rose Hillary and that. So like, it's just common sense. He's not all the way in, and that's why they're scared, and that's why and I don't know. See, that's me pandering to the game again. Like, that's why they said they acted scared of him, but he's still, he's still there having fucking dinner with him, And so there must be at some level there must be a willing, work between Trump and between the people who are influencing this country. So what better way to try to prove that the system isn't rigged than by doing it the way they did it and releasing all that information. The government allowed all that information to be released. I know it's supposed to be hackers, Julian Assange and all that, but you don't know. He could be fucking on the inside too and agreeing to release this information when they need to. See, with that, like, that's like a source that seems like a disconnected source from the powers that be, and so that source can release information about anybody at any time in order to influence people's sway one way or the other anytime they want to. It's like fucking Randolph Hearst, Yellow Belly media over there. Like, so you never know. They could even be making those fucking emails up. We don't know. It could all be fucking fantasy. It could literally all be like a football game or like pro wrestling shit you guys like to watch. We don't know. They say if you're going to lie big, lie so big that people will never believe it. So I don't believe there's truly going to be any changing of the guard. There may be a revolution, a 360 fucking degree turn right to some point that we've been before while we're under control. So... And they're still talking about spreading democracy and shit when we're not even a fucking democracy. And then you got on Fox News, I can't remember the dude's name, but because I got sucked into watching the elections last night because, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. I just wanted to see what fucking happened. And what was interesting was, as Trump was, right before he was about to win, he had the 254 electoral votes that he had for a long time. And the one... See, they always have one member of the caucus on these fucking shows that has the opposite political views, and they have one quote-unquote liberal guy that speaks, during the election coverage, and he's saying that he's afraid that that everything that happened brought out an extreme element in the voters last night, and that's why Trump won. To me, that makes me feel like that extreme element he's saying is extreme people that wouldn't have normally come out of their shells and voted, got off their ass and fucking found a reason to want to vote. And so they wouldn't fuck with all the good people's quote unquote good people, all the people that he thinks are fucking, the ones that matter. Normally, these people, these extreme elements, wouldn't be fucking with their life, but since they found a reason to get off their ass and vote for Trump, now they're fucking with his life. It almost makes me feel like he thinks that there's a class of people better than another class of people in this country. Listen, these people that got off their asses and voted for Trump, obviously they weren't fucking convicted felons or anything, were they? They weren't fucking lifelong criminals or anything like that, huh? They must just maybe be people that like to fucking keep to themselves and just hope that the fucks that are making moves every day aren't going to make some fucking law or create some reason to fuck them over in their daily lives. Maybe they just, found something passionate enough and to break them out of their shell and to where they went and got down to the voting polls and fucking did it. So I don't think that Trump's going to change the world, but calling people who have the legal right to vote in this fucking country, since I'm just going to pander to you motherfuckers, you want to say that if you don't vote, you don't care. These motherfuckers obviously got off their asses and did it, so to call them an extreme element and to fucking degrade who they are as a human being makes me feel like that's an elitist fucking mindset, and that you feel like certain people are better than other people. Eugenics mindset, like you think you're better than them, so the next step is thinking that they're almost like a different species than you are. So that's pretty fucking disgusting mindset if you don't ask me. That extreme element is actually just people who aren't felons, convicted fucking criminals, people who just went down there and voted, and you're butthurt about it, which is funny. It's funny on both sides. If people who would have got butthurt if Hillary would have won, if the Trump supporters would have got butthurt, it's like, because people are sucked into this illusion that it fucking matters, that's why they get butthurt. And so you're sucked into the illusion that matters, that's what makes you a fucking brainwashed zombie. So just pandering to you motherfuckers, going over these results, but really it's not gonna fucking matter. And think whatever you want, revolution or anything like that, but it doesn't fucking matter. So back on it, so we were talking about Nevada went Hillary. New Hampshire still too close to call. New Jersey Hillary. New Mexico Hillary. New York Hillary. We went over all those. So North Carolina, going back a little farther south there, this was a close one. North Carolina was a big one, 15 electoral votes, and a lot of people thought Hillary was going to win this. Early in the voting, it looked like everywhere, like early in the day and early in the voting, Hillary was winning. And then maybe the conservatives, maybe the people that were voting for Trump, they were last minute voters on the fence, or just generally maybe conservatives vote more traditionally, I don't know. But as the day progressed, his case became stronger, and he basically dominated her once the electoral votes all started coming in. She didn't get her big wave of votes like with California and with Washington and Hawaii and Oregon and all that until a little bit later, and he already had Ohio at that point and a lot of other southern states and Midwest states. So it was tough sledding for her side yesterday. Here we go. Oregon, another legal to possess and smoke recreational medicinal marijuana, fucking for Hillary. It's like, that's so crazy to me. That's interesting that so many people fought for legalization of marijuana and then turn around and vote for someone who literally thinks that it shouldn't be legal. So that's interesting. Pennsylvania, this is one of the eastern states that Trump snagged. Very blue collar state. They're proud of being hard-nosed, hard-working people. Trump, and see, this is the thing. Like, it was mostly just fucking mudslinging back and forth, trying to degrade each other's character. Because politicians believe that people respond to that kind of behavior in their voting habits because they think that means that their actions, that those behaviors will dictate the type of decisions they make in office, and makes people feel sketchy when they hear certain things about the candidate. So, but the thing is Hillary didn't promise, not that any of these guys ever hold up to their promises anyways, but Hillary didn't try to make any promises about anything literal. She, her whole campaign was based off of ideals, and Trump actually promised literal things, and people responded to the possibility of having some sort of benefit locally that they could tangibly feel and experience over just the ideals of that Hillary was trying to promise of equality and not treating women like sex objects and all those things. Those things are true, but like she should have offered some tangible things to the people that they could chew on. Trump did that, and so the blue collar, the working people, he got the people, like she got the people that she already had. The people that were on the fence, the people that were independent, I'm pretty sure Trump snagged a lot of fucking Bernie supporters because they wanted to believe in something different. And then by the end, there's only, two people with enough media coverage to get most people's attention, and Trump was the only one promising something different. So, bam, that was it. And then he took fucking Pennsylvania, which was a big one, 20 electoral votes. Huge. And that was what I think fucking put the icing on the cake for him. Rhode Island is 4 electoral votes, Hillary. South Carolina, Trump. South Dakota, Trump. Tennessee, the volunteers volunteered their time to go down to the polls for Trump. Texas fucking, of course, makes sense. Traditionally Republic. George W. Bush owns the fucking Texas Rangers, all that shit. Utah was very interesting. Trump 46%, Hillary 28%. There was a third candidate there that got quite a bit of attention in that state, one of the only states where a third candidate got a decent amount of votes. Vermont 61%, Virginia 61% for Hillary, Virginia 50% for Hillary. She won both of those. Washington, of course, like I said earlier, Hillary. A lot of Hillary supporters out here on the fucking Northwest. It's fucking crazy. If the people that all on the West Coast that were secretly Trump supporters, they felt like they couldn't even say it out loud because the fucking Hillary supporters here are just so fucking vicious, like a fucking army of fucking cat owning, frosting, fucking eating, fucking cookie fucking owning, eating fucking lesbians just out here doing work, putting down the Trump supporters. Not that there's anything wrong with being a lesbian, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of that, the progressive fucking left out here, a lot of those people, and they're not very accepting. They want you to be accepting of their way of life, and I am, but they're not very accepting of any other way of life, which is kind of funny to me. As long as you believe like they do and you're accepting of the things they're accepting of, then they're accepting of you. But if you're trying to ask them to be accepting of something else that's not already in their paradigm, you better watch the fuck out. And so that's what the Trump supporters are dealing with on the West Coast. Just fucking an army of fucking Hitlery automatons. So they were just quietly waiting and trying to think about who they're going to vote for. Then they found out about the Hillary fucking weirdness, the wiener Hillary fucking Podesta Marina weirdness, and they went with Trump. And I think the government wanted that information to come out so everybody would get in the boat with Trump. But it's just interesting. I haven't been out in public today, but I imagine that there's some pissed off fucking Hillary fans out here on the West Coast. Anyways, Wisconsin, Trump got it 69%. I'm sorry, 48%. Wyoming, Trump, and that's it. So Trump did it. He got all he needed in the Electoral College. The popular vote doesn't always matter because it's an indirect, democracy. This part of the system, we're a republic, but this system has, is indirect democracy with electoral colleges. So, she got the popular vote. She had 200,000, a little over 200,000 more votes than Trump. Very close, but he got all the states that he needed. It's a state game, not necessarily a popular vote game. So he did all the work he needed, and he snagged states he needed to from her, and he got it done, man. So, but again, doesn't fucking matter because it's not gonna fucking change our lives for the better too much. Maybe the healthcare system gets a little bit better, maybe not. That's probably about it. So, he wants to build fucking the Great Wall of America down there. Don't necessarily agree with it. I do agree with the idea of protecting our borders, but it seems a little extreme. But I mean, it's a clear-cut way of stopping people from coming in, I guess. Shit, I don't know. He's like a all or nothing kind of dude. So, which is why I think a lot of people ended up fucking wanting to vote for him. You know, again, they may have been unknowingly led down that path to go that way, but still interesting. So, let's go ahead and look at some of the other action that went on nationally with voting here. In the Senate, Republicans won 51 seats, Democrats 47. So they're going to have Republican president, Republican Senate in the House. Republicans fucking beat that ass, 239 to Democrats 192. So Congress is going to be Republican with the president. Governors, let's see here. Oregon, Kate Brown, Democrat one. Let's see here. And yeah, so we're not going to talk about the governors too much there. You know, we only got so much time on this shit. You know, it's called the morning recording. We can't be doing this shit all day long. Sorry, people. I know you like hearing my voice and hanging out with me, but I can't be around you that long. You don't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck up out of here. Not yet, though, but just all right, so we are going to look at the states that were up for passing both recreational and or medicinal marijuana up here. So it looks like California, Massachusetts, Nevada, all voted successfully to have recreational marijuana in all of those states. I believe all the states already have medicinal marijuana, so people will be able to own most likely up to an ounce of weed, smoke it, you know, private locations, and not get fucked with anymore. A lot of people are already in prison in California. California is one of the most overcrowded states there is in a hugely overcrowded nation of people who are imprisoned for drug offenses. There's shitloads of people in prison in California for weed. And, you know, at least that's going to change. You know, the strain that's being put on the justice system will be a little less with people not getting taken down, you know, for weed. You know, what if, you know, you already have 2 strikes, that 3rd strike comes real easy. What if you have an ounce of weed on you and you already have 2 strikes with a 3-strike rule, and they give you that 3rd strike and you end up getting life because you had weed on you or something like that? So that's good that that was passed recreationally. You know, maybe they think that it makes us apathetic and we're more easily to control, but I don't think it does. Like that, you know, I think weed makes people open to new possibilities and think about things in different ways than they would in a different state of mind, and just the, you know, the sober, critical thinking state of mind. So, you know, I think it's a good thing overall. So those 3 states, California, Massachusetts, and Nevada. Arizona, it's hard in Arizona, man. Like, so old school conservative, and so still probably, you know, the older generation there still believing in all the propaganda they were fed during the fucking 40s and 50s and 60s about, and all the way up, you know, about how bad marijuana is. So Arizona, they lost 53% of the people said no there, so they won't be getting their recreational weed there. They'll have to drive on over to California to get hooked up there. But in Maine, I believe at this point, up to 3 hours ago, Maine was still too close to call, so they might be getting their recreational weed there. Maybe not, though. So all these states that pass for recreational marijuana, they're all going to tax every sale that's sold in their state in order to help provide funding for programs in their state. So, you know, every state has different governments and different state governments and different people in charge, and hopefully the leaders of those states do the right things and put that money into the right programs, and it doesn't just go funneling back to the people who are already rich as fuck in this country. So that's what I hope. So as far as medicinal marijuana goes, looks like Arkansas, Florida, Montana, and North Dakota all passed the measure for legalizing medicinal marijuana. So, you know, people with drastic pain or cancer or other illnesses, epilepsy, other illnesses, all kinds of there's almost it's like a magic fucking potion. There's like a strain of weed almost for every ill out there, man. It's like the ultimate. Your food should be thy food should be thy medicine. Like everybody should have marijuana in their fucking pantry, for if somebody gets sick or to be making oils out of it to be able to take orally. That way, it helps fight off diseases and stuff like that. Like Rick Simpson oil, the true Rick Simpson oil. Made with Everclear. So I mean that stuff's like pure fucking medicine. Like it puts you to sleep and lets your body fucking heal. And yeah, it's like a lot of the compounds, cannabinoids in marijuana are adaptogens. Adaptogens are commonly found in the mushroom kingdom, because there's a lot of good medicinal mushrooms out there as well, not just ones with psilocybin, but like reishi mushrooms or like lion's mane out there that have adaptogens, where these compounds, they assess what's going on inside your body, the chemistry inside your body, and they adapt to either add something or take away something inside your body. Instead of just increasing something or decreasing something, they adapt and they give you what you need. So a lot of the cannabinoids in marijuana are adaptogens. Like I believe the one CBN is a main one. It can basically turn into any other type of cannabinoid it needs to help your body heal in whatever way it needs to. So the Rick Simpson oil is a good way for a lot of medicinal patients in these new 4 states that are allowing medicinal marijuana to treat their illnesses the right way. So that's pretty cool. So a lot of progression in cannabis reform, which is, again, maybe they're just doing it. Maybe Obama, he's still in office. Maybe he's just supposed to be the cool president. So he's just looking the other way. I don't know. Maybe Trump or Hillary. Maybe neither of them would be cool with it. If the federal government wants to, they can come into your state and like a bunch of gangsters and just shut down all your fucking weed stores and just shut down all the operations if they want to. So they've been fucking with people in a lot of the states that are just medicinal states for a long time, shutting down weed stores, like especially like California. I know I'm from there, so I probably hear more stories from there. It's probably happened in all of the states where there's been medicinal shops for a long time. But yeah, so the federal government can still come in and wreck your day as far as that's concerned anytime they want to. So right now they're letting it happen. They're letting the states get away with it, so the states are getting away with it. So yeah, so a lot of people are probably in shock right now because they're brainwashed. They probably feel like the Cleveland Browns just won the Super Bowl because Trump won. They thought it would never happen, but it happened. The Cleveland Browns sure as fuck aren't going to win the Super Bowl this year, but you never know. Maybe sometime they will. But all right, so that is a recap of the action last night. Any promise of a revolution's just a bullshit word that means that we're just circling right back around in a circle to some point that we were at before. He's not the truth. Bernie wasn't the truth. Hillary's not the truth. Trump, I guess, at least made his own money in the world, and maybe he'll get a hair up his ass, like because JFK wasn't supposed to be for the people. He ended up really fucking dying for the people. His dad put him in office. His dad was rich as fuck and thought he would just follow the agenda and thought that he would agree to do the things that the people who were advising him wanted him to do, but he didn't. He didn't bomb the fuck out of Cuba, and he tried to stop the Federal Reserve. And so maybe Trump will get a hair up his ass and try to do that, but I don't think so. I think that we're just being played at one more level. Like you think you're out of the control, but you're never out of the control, man. So regardless, whoever's president anyways, man, you were born into a contract that you never agreed to. You were born with a social security number and a birth certificate that tie you to a legal straw man that's not really you. It's just a paper representation of the numbers that supposedly represent you. So you're born into that contract. You never agreed to it. If you look up the numbers on your birth certificate, you can see you're linked and owned to a bank that has shares and stocks for you. So you're worth stock in the stock market. So Whoever the fuck's president, we're all still really, and I am as well. You know, it's hard these days. If you were to denounce your birth certificate and your social security number, you wouldn't be able to do shit. Not even hardly on the internet. You have to enter your social everywhere. You have to be tied in to do anything these days. You wouldn't be able to drive. You wouldn't be able to do shit. You wouldn't be able to get any licensing for anything. You wouldn't be able to own a business. You wouldn't be able to do anything. You'd be a bum under a bridge. And so that's what it really comes down to, is that's how deeply we are controlled. So from the time we're babies, where our souls are already sold to work hours for corporations to help fucking turn the economy along. So you're just a piece of economical energy. They don't even consider you a fucking human. So, you know, that's how deep the fucking game runs. And so he's not willing. There ain't nobody ever fucking talking about changing any of that. So the control, they still have their hooks deep within us. We might as well be in the Matrix, because that's how deeply we're controlled ever since we're babies. Come out of the fucking birth canal, and you're just you're just an asset to them. So, and they're just a piece of shit for thinking that they can own you as a human being. So that's all going to change someday. We're going to change the tides, but he's not going to be the truth to change that. He's not ever going to acknowledge that depth of control that the people are being controlled. So, you know, and he was born in the 40s. He was born after Social Security. He was born with a birth certificate himself. I mean, who knows if he even fucking acknowledges. He probably does. He probably knows that inside information, but who knows if he may not. Who knows if he even acknowledges that about himself. Like, even him, like, that's the thing, like, you're owned by someone else, so everything you own in your life, especially under a debt-based currency like we have, the fiat currency we have, everything you buy with that debt-based currency that we owe back to the people who loaned it to us, everything you buy with that, that's owned by the people who loaned you the money. So even if you think you own a home, even him, if he is paying for his home or his estate, all the things he owns with money, whoever loaned the United States the money that he bought that with, they own that shit. So even he's fucking owned. He's a citizen of the United States too. Obama too. All the other presidents too. So they're all fucking owned too. So when you get to that level of success, it's almost impossible not to understand how these basic fundamentals in the world work, about how you're born with a social security number and a birth certificate, and about you know, banks having stock in you and things like that. So, you know, like, it's just all a fucking illusion. We all get sucked in every fucking 2 years, every 4 years. And it's the same thing, man. I've been telling people every fucking election for years. It doesn't fucking matter, man. I hear people, it doesn't matter if you don't believe in any candidate. You just have to vote because people died for that vote. Listen, people died in war because rich people fucking funded these wars from both sides to fucking go send poor people's fucking kids out there to fucking die. You don't see the rich people sending their kids out there to fucking die. They died to protect a piece of economical energy back here, which are all you motherfuckers out there working for your fucking daily jobs. So they died for a bullshit reason, and then you're voting for a bullshit reason. You're voting into something that's broken. You're just fucking pissing down the fucking drain. You're not doing shit to change anything, all right? The boat has a fucking crack in it in the bottom of the fucking boat, all right? It's sinking. The boat's fucking sinking. You're not changing shit. You're not plugging the hole up. You're not even trying to get your fucking kids and your family off the boat into another safe situation. You're just going down like the three motherfuckers playing the violin on fucking Titanic. You're just going down with those motherfuckers. That's all you're doing. So I don't want to hear that bullshit about you just have to vote because other people died for your vote. Those people died for a bullshit reason. Once they died and they reflected upon it in their life review, they know it. They knew it. They knew it then. They know it now. And you're just fucking brainwashed with that shit. And you can call me whatever you want. I have pride in myself. I have pride in the people in this country. But the people in this country and from other countries have all been dying for bullshit reasons for a long fucking time. And you're voting into a bullshit system. And that's all it is, man. So you're voting into something that's broken. So you're trying to drive a car that's fucking transmission's gone out. And you're fucking just not going anywhere. That's what you're doing. So I don't want to hear about it. It's a fucking logical fallacy what you're doing. You've been brainwashed to believe that way, and it's disgusting to hear people so apathetic that they would be willing to vote for something they don't believe in rather than trying to fucking think of a way to change things so you can participate in the world in a way that you do believe in a way that you can change your own fucking personal world and the world of those people you love around you. Okay? So that's fucking that. That's it with all that brainwashing shit. All right. If you don't believe in the system, don't fucking vote. That's how we get it. That's how we get something new. Okay. All right. Stop fucking participating. Okay. All right. You don't fucking like watching basketball or football, then you don't fucking put basketball or fucking football on the TV, right? You don't just fucking say that you have to watch it because your dead uncle who loved fucking football watched it, right? No. Okay. All right. You understand how that fucking makes sense? If not, you can fucking rewind this fucking podcast and listen back in slow motion, motherfucker, okay? You're probably a brainwashed fuck anyways. If not, I'm glad you're fucking here and you're still listening, okay? If I offended you, I do apologize, but that's just the truth behind that there, and I'm very passionate about that. So, people have been dying in wars for bullshit reasons for a long fucking time. It's still a very primitive practice, and that's the reason why, see, even the people at the tippy top in control, they're still participating in primitive actions. How can we have a fucking one world where everybody's on the same page when we can't even stop fucking helping each other kill each other and stop selling fucking bullets to fucking every country so they can fucking kill each other, okay? Alright? I don't believe in taking people's guns, but I also don't believe in fucking just funding fucking countries and just giving countries fucking access to weapons that they wouldn't have had access to before. The assets in this world, they've been gobbled up by just a few fucking hands for like over 100 years now. So there hasn't been any countries. If countries didn't have backing from rich private hands and rich private banks, they wouldn't be able to come up with the funds to even fucking have war. Even our country declared bankruptcy in the 30s. Our credit rating shit. Our dollar isn't backed by any asset. Our country's doesn't really have shit. It's all been fucking mined and taken by the fucking rich hands, by the fucking families. The families from this country and the families from across the seas, the fucking Rothschilds and those other fucking the DuPont families and those type of families, okay? They have the fucking funds. They have the assets. That's why they can do Brexit. That's why they can take their people out of the United Nations and away from the fucking the bank's control, because they already have the assets. They are the people who run that country are the fucking banking control. So our country couldn't fucking do that. They want to talk about on the fucking news last night that Trump is like Brexit. Our country's broke as fuck. Our gold reserves aren't really fucking there. Our country doesn't really have the assets to fucking even back our dollar anymore. So what are we going to do about that? But you guys want to fucking just go on fucking believing this illusion. Just keep on believing it and keep on fucking swallowing that shit, bitch. That's all it is, dude. Alright? It's a fucking illusion. So, yeah, it's already after 10 o'clock. We've been on here, I don't know, like 45 minutes or so, maybe a little under an hour. Really only wanted to talk about how bullshit the election is and how brainwashed people get every fucking 4 years when they believe there's going to be change. The results a little bit, just pandering, just playing the devil's advocate there a little bit about what change could possibly happen. Most likely nothing's going to happen, just to play devil's advocate. And then wanted to talk about the states passing, measures for, medicinal and recreational marijuana. That's one bright spot that I can fucking think of in all of this murky bullshit. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's been nice talking to you. So got the SoundCloud up. Got our RSS feed. Just signed up for distribution this morning, so you may start seeing the morning recording on like iTunes, or if you have like a Roku box or like a Fire Stick, you might start seeing it as an advertisement on those platforms, on YouTube, just advertising on web pages and stuff like that. Man, you guys, you're already here, so thank you for listening. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to Critically Creative Entertainment. People are watching this podcast, but we're not really getting many subscribers. I need subscribers on YouTube, on the platforms where it doesn't cost you anything, but where I get a little bit of a boost so I can keep doing this and I can keep doing what I'm passionate about. So please go on YouTube, subscribe, watch videos on YouTube. Also subscribe to Fight Shark on YouTube. I'm going to continue to come out with content. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's been wonderful talking to you, and nobody fucking kill each other over the stupid ass election, okay? You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.